Hey guys, so most of you probably know about Dual Universe, and if you've been watching my channel, you should know that I've played Dual Universe for like straight 2 to 3 months back then when it was launched. And I don't want you to think of this as like me criticizing Dual Universe just for the sake of it, but because I really do want Dual Universe to succeed. I love the idea of Dual Universe, and I'd love for it to be a big thing in the space sandbox or MMO genre. But obviously, if you've been paying a close attention to what's happening or what's been happening in the Dual Universe community and their development for the past half a year now, you should know that not everything is going smoothly. There's just been so many things that kind of going where they shouldn't be going, like the sense of direction and some public relation nightmares which happened a bit ago. And those are just some of the things which make a lot of people lose interest in Dual Universe, because if you look at any considerable metric, like because they don't release their public player numbers, but if you look at Discord activity, YouTube viewership, and how many YouTubers are covering or playing Dual Universe, and how many streamers are playing Dual Universe or streaming Dual Universe, and how many people are streaming Dual Universe. Like, we can check now if we go to twitch.tv. 54 viewers. Like, I think it's obvious that a lot of people have lost interest in Dual Universe since it was launched. And you can say that any game will lose its or some of its player base after the launch hype, but Dual Universe really took it hard. I mean, if you compare it to something like Space Engineers, let's see how many people are. Alright, so Space Engineers has like twice the amount of viewership on Twitch alone, and there are other metrics. Like if you go to Google Trends, for example, you can search for a topic and you can see here Dual Universe worldwide interest. Let's just change it to YouTube, for example, and you compare it to something like Space Engineers. Alright, you can see a big difference there, even if you just compare it to Empyrean, for example. Yeah, that's not a good look. So obviously a lot of people have lost interest in Dual Universe, and I think I know some of the reasons why and what I think can help Dual Universe regain its hype. But before that, I want to say that I think one of the root problems is that Dual Universe, or the developers, or maybe JC Bailey himself, the creator of Dual Universe, kind of want to make Dual Universe an EVE competitor, because they probably look at Space Sandbox games player base and they see there's not that many players that play Space Sandbox games compared to something like EVE, for example. But you should understand that a lot of the hype that Dual Universe got when it was first announced and when it was going to launch was coming from Space Sandbox game players and YouTubers like Space Engineers, Empyrean. You can see people like Captain Jack or the XP gamers or what's his name again? Sponge, who's an Empyrean YouTuber, and they were all covering dual universe. There's almost no if players comparing, I mean, playing dual universe, because the attraction of dual universe, the appeals, mainly appeal to space sandbox game players, right? If players are just not the type of people who will be interested in dual universe, so I think a lot of the misdirection that's coming from the top in dual universe or Nova Quark came from that assumption that they should attract more if players instead of focusing on space sandbox game players. Alright, so what can they do to regain the hype that they got back then? I think they should focus on bringing territory warfare, because that's like one of the main appeals of dual universe. You can go to war, or wars or battles with other people and have territories for your factions. That's kind of the whole point of having a space sandbox game that's also an MMO, because if you look at other aspects like survival aspects, dual universe doesn't really have any advantage in that regard compared to other games. So that's probably something that they should focus on, and they should communicate that they are focusing on that, so that people know and they can get excited again. And number 2, I think they should ditch the gunner system, like seriously. I mean the main gun system, because in dual universe you need to have people as gunners to control your ship's guns, and I get the idea, right? And they kind of want to make it like this immersive experience, but the reality is most space sandbox game players, they want to be the commanders of a ship. They Dual Universe is a subscription game. You pay €7 a month to play it. No one's gonna pay €7 a month to be a gunner or some crew of a ship or something. That's just crazy. I mean, you can get something like that sometimes, if you have friends, or if you're a big YouTuber, or maybe you have a rather big faction, you can probably get a regular flow of people wanting to do that for you, right? But for majority of people, they simply don't have that kind of resource or time, and it's just ridiculous, because like I said, you're paying €7. You're saying to a lot of people that they should pay you a monthly subscription to be some kind of a lowly gunner. Is just ridiculous. And it's not like Star Citizen, right? I mean, if you look at Star Citizen, they have a lot of things that are related to immersion, and you can see the appeal of being a crew of a ship in a very immersive game like Star Citizen. But that's just simply not the case for a space sandbox game, which appeal is more broad. Like Dual Universe is not about the immersion, because if you compare Dual Universe to Star Citizen, in terms of immersion, it's just like light years ahead. You're not gonna compare. You're not gonna be able to compete with Star Citizen in that regard, right? So I think they should really ditch the gunner system. It's just ridiculous. And number 3, and maybe this is kind of controversial, because a lot of people in the Dual Universe forums have suggested this. So you can see there's a lot of people who want survival, and I think that's a good idea, because for a game like Dual Universe, where there's economy and stuff involved, it will be a good idea to have survival, since you can make things like space stations or bars or cafes or whatever, right? But or maybe like a cruise ship, but in the end, they are kind of meaningless. I mean, it's a small thing, but obviously it can add a lot in terms of immersion, especially in a game like Dual Universe, where Jesse kind of want people to make stuff or expect people to make stuff and build a civilization. But if there's no survival element, it's kind of it's just people will be less inclined to naturally make buildings or roads or whatever, without any survival elements, because it all kind of feel pointless to a degree, right? And number 4 is character customization. I mean, this might not seem important, but if you look at what Jesse said about Dual Universe and their goals in general for Dual Universe, they want people to be immersed in the universe, right? And this just won't happen if you cannot customize your character, because anyone who's ever made a virtual world or Korean MMOs, they all know this. This is why character customization, even Star Citizen know this, right? They put all of those games or things I mentioned, they put a big emphasis on character customization because they know it will increase immersion or self-expression a lot. Because if you want people to be immersed as a living, breathing entity in the world or virtual world or a game you are creating, you want them to be able to customize their character to a high degree, because you want people to be like a bar owner, for example, and or maybe a commander or a mercenary. It just doesn't feel like that when everyone's basically wearing the same suit. It just breaks the immersion of being those kind of character or role. So I think that's one of the least important things in terms of what I think can help Dual Universe, but it's certainly quite up there. So yeah, it's been like half a year now. Well, more than half a year since Dual Universe was launched to the beta. I mean, since Dual Universe beta was launched, and I hope they can kind of fix the situation with Dual Universe, because right now it's not looking so great for them, and I really do wish they are gonna be able to bounce back, because I'd love to come back to Dual Universe when it's able to realize what it has promised to its players. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.